Hello and welcome to the 3-time award-winning Tough Girl podcast, which is all about motivating and inspiring you while increasing the amount of female role models in the media. I'm your host, Sarah Williams. If you love adventure, challenge, and hearing from women who share their stories and provide top tips and advice to help you take on your own personal challenges, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. New episodes go live every Tuesday at 7 a.m. UK time, with bonus episodes happening on a Thursday. You can support the Tough Girl mission by signing up as a patron by visiting Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. Keep listening until the very end as I share more information about what's going on with me, with Tough Girl challenges, give shout outs, and recommend other Tough Girl podcast episodes. More information can be found at toughgirlchallenges.com.
I'm Helen Ryvar. I'm 44 years old and I'm a single mother to 3 from Wrexham in North Wales. I got into fitness just before COVID, before lockdown. I started running and I ended up running 111 consecutive half marathons and becoming the current Guinness World Record holder for that. And then most recently, people will know me as running 1,000 consecutive half marathons on my second streak.
Massive congratulations. That is a lot of running, and we are definitely going to be digging into that. But were you running as a child? Were you quite sporty, quite outdoorsy?
Oh, no, crikey, no. So I went to a private school where they played lacrosse and hockey and all these kind of things. And unless you were sort of really good at sport, they didn't really want to know. So I wasn't particularly sporty in school. I'd say I was a little bit overweight and more into languages and arts. So often I'd be found skiving behind the cars or like disappearing into town and classrooms when I should have been playing PE. And then I'd get punished by being made to run around Chester City walls or around the actual playground in my lunch break. But actually I quite enjoyed the running part of it, and I eventually joined the cross country team and did a little bit of running, and it's kind of stuck with me throughout life since then.
The most consecutive half marathons, hitting 111. How did that come about?
Yeah, so sadly, my relationship had broken down with my ex-husband and we were living separate lives anyway. But the day before we were put on government lockdown, I had 2 policemen knock at my door. I knew it would be bad news and I knew it would be something to do with my ex. And, they sadly found him. He was already dead in the street, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks because we'd had quite a turbulent relationship. So in a way, I was glad that he was at peace in the nicest possible way. But in the other respect, we had 3 kids together, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, tell my 3 kids that they're no longer going to see their daddy. So it was very tug and war mentally. Obviously, we're on government lockdown, so there wasn't much I could do to sort of alleviate my stress, but I could go and exercise. So I started to run. And then one thing just led to another. I didn't go out intentionally trying to get a Guinness World Record, but I just kept on running and found my peace at sort of 2 hours, 15 minutes running. And the connection with nature really saved me, I think, from either drinking myself silly or eating myself silly. I just found this new sort of rhythm of getting up and going for a run, and it really cleared my head. So that's where the first streak came from, and the record before mine was 75, which I just Googled and found out. Although there was another lady called Sharon Tate Jessup. She was running a half marathon streak. I think she was in South Africa, and she'd got to 101. So I knew I had to sort of beat her before submission. That's why I went to 111.
So then your most recent streak of 1,000 half marathons, why isn't that a Guinness World Record?
So I've only just completed it. So you can't submit your data to Guinness until you've completed a task. You can't do it as you're going along. So I started my streak on the 1st of May 2022, and I've just finished now, nearly 3 years on. So it's probably going to be Guinness's biggest job to date, trying to deal with all this 20 gigabytes of data now, which I have to submit. So I wanted to push the bar. I was challenged by an American guy called Micah Shevitt to do a second streak. He was streaking somewhere in between the time I'd be finishing my 111 and starting my new streak. And he was on day maybe 400 and something. And he actually carried on streaking to 1,078 days. So my goal was actually just to initially just sort of do 150 to beat my 111. I thought, 150 is pretty decent, and I'll run for charity. So I started running for Mind and raised quite a lot of money for them. I think about £8,000 in total. running for mine, but I carried on past the 150. I carried on past the 200. I still wasn't feeling that it was time to finish. And I just obviously carried on then all the way to 1,000.
Do you have a couple of set running routes that you alternate every day? So like Mondays this route, Tuesdays this route. How does it work?
Yeah, well, because I'm a single parent to three kids and I work full time, I have to run early in the mornings. So I run at 4 in the morning till 6 a.m. most mornings. And they've been quite grueling. So I have to obviously look out for my safety. So I tend to mix up the routes. And obviously, they never go to Strava until I've actually run them. So I probably have maybe 10 different routes that I'll take. And they're all over like where I live, basically in North Wales. They're all from my front door to my front door. I totally believe in green running and, not leaving a carbon footprint wherever I possibly can get away with it, just running local. But then on weekends, I would allow flexi time. So if I'm taking the kids to like a basketball match or something, I might be running somewhere different. So that's allowed me to run in different places as well. And obviously, I go on holiday with the kids. So, I've run all over the world as well.
4 a.m. does not sound amazing to me, not going to lie. Are you sleeping in your running kit?
Some nights, yes. Yeah, I'll not lie. Some nights I do. Some nights I obviously just put it all on the radiator ready. I tend to sleep in socks anyway to keep my feet warm at night. But usually I have the kit on the radiator ready to go. My trainer's at the front door. So the night before I'll check my phone, check what the forecast is, and just get everything all ready to go. So it's just on and out in 15 minutes. So I'm up at 4 and out that door by 4:15. If I stop to take a drink or anything, it's just a glass of water because I don't have time for coffee or any faffing. I'd be there for an hour if I was doing all of that. So I don't eat. I just drink a pint of water and go. Yeah.
You must have had days where you don't want to get out of bed.
Sometimes, yeah. But I think because I know I've got to get back to get the kids up for school, I have to get back. I have to have it done in a certain time frame. I think forcing those limitations on yourself makes you sort of have to do it. And also getting up early, the first 10K, you're sort of half asleep, you're still waking up. I've got my favorite podcasts. I had friends that eventually would start coming to run with me. And at the end, there was people every week coming out at that crazy o'clock to come and run with me. We called it the 4 a.m. run club. We'd all meet up at the shop. They would witness the runs. Again, something that Guinness needs, like daily witnesses. And then if somebody runs with me, it's great for me because then there's a witness on the run as well. So we just got into this routine and actually it feels horrible now it's gone. It's like I'm dealing with bereavement, like a part of me is gone and I miss it. But I just also understand it's not something that's sustainable forever. And doing it for 3 years has been tough. It's been really hard. It's one thing running a half marathon. It's another thing running a half marathon at 4 a.m. every weekday for 3 years on the trot without any break, no breaks.
How is your body? Like, how's your body responded to that sort of level of training and that level of running?
I think it's adapted over time. I lost a little bit of weight at the beginning and I've stabilized around 12 and a half stone now. So I'm not a skinny person. I'm not a typical runner. I think because of where I live, the terrain's quite challenging. It's very hilly, very up and downy. Whichever route you go, you've got 250 sort of meters of elevation roughly, apart from a couple of routes I know which are flatter. So I think just having those hills has really helped keep my body in shape. It's really made use of every muscle, and I did struggle on the last maybe 20 or 30 runs, I must admit. And my body has given up a little bit on the last one on day 1000. So I have bursitis in my right knee, which is just an inflammation of the knee basically, and a sac of fluid under the knee joint. So it's a little bit painful. So I'm taking it easy now. And I think it was just an omen to stop. But apart from that, I could eat what I want and sort of do what I want. I think if you just listen to your body, it tells you all the answers. You don't need any special diets to follow. You just really need to listen to your body and work with it.
You did the first streak run, absolutely amazing. With the second streak run, 1,000 half marathons. So this is over 3 years running a half marathon every day. Honestly, mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. I can't even imagine the amount of laundry you were going through with.
That's my biggest pet hate, the laundry. Yeah.
Did you stop enjoying it at some point?
No, do you know what? There's never been a day where I've stopped enjoying it. I think the keeping a routine and being grateful for, getting up every day is so important. When you've lost somebody, it really reframes what's important in life. And, I lost my ex-husband, as I said, which sort of gave me a reason to run on the first streak. My dad actually passed away on the second streak on day 88 or 89, somewhere around there. So that really helped me kind of deal with his bereavement. And then my father-in-law actually passed away towards the end as well. But then I've gained two nieces and a nephew. I've gained, I've been to 4 weddings during this streak, and a couple of funerals, like I say. But losing people has been the biggest eye opener for me, and it makes me really put a value on my life like I've never appreciated before. So I run Grateful now, and part of the runs I would do longer runs. So I would actually do ultras as well, or marathons as part of my streak. The longest one was a 50-mile Chester Ultra, which I did last January or February time. I also did the 50-kilometer London Ultra, and I did loads of half marathons, including one with Sean Conway when he was doing his Iron 105 challenge. And I most recently did one in Malaga, which was just in December. So I think also pushing the bar up sometimes and making it a little bit harder for yourself. Then when it makes you realize when you come back down to the half marathon that it's just a half marathon. We can deal with this, and your body sort of mellows with it. But the biggest key is just to listen to your body always. And I've never run at a speedy pace. I've always kept it sort of 2 hours, 2 hours 15 or thereabouts for the majority of my runs, which is a respectful pace. I can push faster, but I felt there's no need to. It's not about pace for me, it's finish lines, not finish times. So
With doing the ultras as part of like the run streak, how did your body react to that? Because it's almost like, you've been trained to like almost like stop at, the 13.2 miles, and then suddenly it's like, oh no, we're doing another 7, now we're at 20 miles, and then we've got another 30 miles to go.
yeah, I think because I'd had some training in ultras prior to the streak, then I sort of knew what to expect, and I just had to break the whole task down in a different way in my head. So rather than have like 3 or 4 mile stones, I had sort of 10 milestones in my head. So it's just like just 5 of these. Each one's going to just take a little bit longer, and I think running with people massively helps. So the Chester Ultra was really hideous. Anyone that ran it last year will tell you we were up to our knees in mud, and people were losing trainers. They were like pulling out for hypothermia. It was sleeting and snow. It was just horrific weather. But I understand that the weather's there to sort of test you, and it helps you ultimately become a stronger runner. So I was prepared for it, and yeah, it it then makes me realize when I go back to doing the half marathons that they're not so bad. They're not so bad.
So what are your mental tips and tricks then for keeping on going? You must have a wide range of yeah, mental tips and tricks of things that are going on in your head. Like, how do you push on through? Like, how do you get through?
I think don't overthink it. I think people always overthink these things, and keep it really simple. Stick to a routine where you can. So, like I say, I was running at the same time every day, Monday to Friday, and allow some flexibility in your routine. So, on a weekend, I could run when I just woke up. I just then go out and run. So, I made sure I had enough sleep. But sleep and nutrition and routine are the key facts. There's no skill to it. Just have it. I think of it like a school day. So I'd have my favorite podcasts on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday, say, and then I'd have a couple of people that would run with me every week, which would split up the week. And then I'd have a social run on maybe a Saturday, which would just be really good fun. And it's how you frame it. If you think it's hard work, it's going to be hard work. And if you think it's easy, then it's going to be easy. It's a lot to do with mentality and how you sort of perceive the actual job in hand. But if I'd have looked at the whole staircase and not the first step, then I would have panicked. I never ever thought I'd get to 1,000 half marathons. So the key is not to overthink it and just think, go out. They say don't judge the run by the first mile is so true. Go out and just do 5 minutes. And if you can do that, can you take one more step? The answer is normally yes, and just keep on working on that. So it's about building good foundations and not thinking about it like you brush your teeth, like you drive your car, you go to work, and you don't think about these things. And I think exercise should be the same. It's not a negotiable thing. It's something we should all be just doing and not even, overthinking it.
Can you talk me through a typical day? So you've already mentioned, you're up at 4, you're up, out, pint of water, 4:15, you're out running, you're back at 6:15 ish or 6:30 ish. What happens then? Like, what are you eating? How long are you? Is your job flexible? Can you work from home? Are you out the door? Like, yeah, talk us through your day in more detail.
Yeah, so when I get back, I then go to the shop. I always go and check in at my local Morrison store. They've been witnessing my runs every day, so I get a photo with the whoever's on working that day and with a local paper from that day. So it's obviously dated and it's good evidence for Guinness. And then say goodbyes to whoever's obviously come and run with me. And then I'd come home and jump in an Epsom salt bath or a magnesium salt bath every day without fail. I've really found the magnesium salts absorb better into my flow than taking a tablet. So you can obviously get tablets as well, which I do take supplements, but I prefer just to get in the salt bath, and I have a lie in there for an hour every morning without fail. At which point I'm able to do my social media, which takes an hour of my morning every day. Just I've posted every single run to my social media on Facebook and Instagram, which is just Helen Ryvar. So there's always photos, obviously routes of my maps of my routes and evidence, which I obviously need for Guinness as well. So I need to file that away every morning straight after the run. So that takes about an hour. So then I'm out of the bath just after 7. And then I have to get my twins up, who are still living at home. And my eldest daughter's actually moved out and gone to uni now since I started my streak. So I've got 2 living at home still. And they're self-sufficient. They can sort of get themselves up and dressed, but I have to make their packed lunches and make sure they've got everything ready for school. And then they go and get the school bus. And then I go to work for 8:30. I tend to eat with them sort of 7:30. So within an hour of getting back from my run, an hour, I'll be eating porridge or a bagel or ham and cheese. I have quite a lot because I'm often making sandwiches for them, which is ham and cheese or tuna. So often I'll just have one of those for quickness, for speed. And then I take a packed lunch with me to work. I'm a self-employed cleaner. So then I go and work most days 9 to 5. That's a pretty physical job in itself. So by 7 a.m., I've done 24,000 steps. And by 5 p.m., I've done maybe 50. So 40 to 50,000 steps is normal for my body in a day. It's just got used to the load and thinks nothing of it.
My jaw is like so open. Is that wow? What time are you going to bed?
So I try to get to bed for 9 o'clock at night, but the problem is my son started doing basketball now, which means that I've got to take him to training 3 times a week. Luckily, I've got a lift chair for the weekend for the matches, but some nights I'm not getting in till 10 o'clock at night. And of course, by that time, you've got to sort of unwind. You can't just go straight to bed. So those are the nights that I might be wearing my kit to bed, when I've got to get up early because my sleep is compromised. But people need to realize that sleep's cumulative and it adds up and it averages out over the week. So as long as you're getting enough sleep over the week, losing a little bit on one night doesn't matter too much. And I found that quality sleep's more important than quantity as well. So before this, I was probably having 8 hours in bed, but I wasn't sleeping solid for them. But on this streak, I was having maybe 5 or 6 hours sleep a night, and I've slept so much better. It's very, very rare that I've not had a good night's sleep, and it has been enough to see me through.
So what would happen is you run, you've done your run, but then Strava's messed up or whatnot, and it didn't record. Would you do the run again? What do you do in those situations?
Yeah, so that happened once. So, first beginners don't accept Strava. So, although I do post to Strava every day, I can't use that data to upload to Guinness. It's recorded all on my Polar Flow watch. Guinness also accept other, watches like Sunto or Garmin or whatever you might use, but I've always used Polar. And found them to be really accurate and really good. So it goes to the watch. There was one day where my watch just malfunctioned at 6 miles, and I had to do the whole run again because I know they wouldn't accept a split run. So even though it recorded the 6 miles, I couldn't risk having 2 6 mile runs, even though they were just a minute apart. I couldn't risk that. So I did it all again. I ran with my friend Audrey one day and it hadn't recorded properly. So I had to run again that evening. So yeah, there's been a few touch and go days. It's very frustrating, but in the grand scale of things, over 1,000 days, they've literally been minimal. So it's been pretty good. Yeah.
How are you feeling now that the running is sort of not over, but your streak's over. You've completed the challenge you set out to complete. You're dealing with a little niggle. Like, are you missing it? Is this an
Yeah.
adjustment period for you?
Yeah, I'm actually finding it really tough. So I finished on the 24th of January, and that weekend it was the National Running Show in Birmingham. So I've kind of had a weekend of more running glory. I've been literally in my element. It's been a bit overwhelming, but to force myself to stop running, I was so tempted to go and run on the Saturday and do 1001. But then it's kind of like, well, where does it end? Where does it go from there? And, in the back of my head, I had an extra milestone of going to 1111 to beat Micah and to beat my milestone and to get over the 3 years, just carry on. You're not injured, carry on. But I did have this niggle in my knee. So I decided just to call it a day there. But I have been missing it. And actually, some of the friends that I've been running with me are missing it. And they've said it is like dealing with bereavement almost. It's suddenly gone, but it's not gone forever. And I'm going to be starting a new challenge, which I'm calling the 555 challenge on my Facebook, completely free, just to get people into the routine of getting up and running 5 kilometers a day. So the idea is just that we all get up and do 5 kilometers throughout the day, eat 5 fruit and veg, and drink 5 bottles of water. So just getting more people to try and jump on board with things that I found helped me and motivated me and got me through the day 1000 streak. So I think once I get back into routine, I'll be a bit happier. But my emotions have been all over the place. I'll not lie. I've struggled this week, and I don't think enough is spoken of come down from such big events. Especially when people do these events that are a year or more longer and then suddenly it comes to an end. It's just an awful feeling that you've lost something, like you've lost your right arm, or you've left a kid on the bus somewhere, or you just feel like a part of you is gone. But I just need to reframe it and just realize it's just a new stepping stone, to bigger and better challenges. So I am looking at doing other stuff later in the year, which will keep me going, but nothing's set in stone yet. So until it's set in stone, I'm going to be doing this little challenges like the 555 challenge.
In sort of like the adventure world, when people finish like expeditions or big challenges, I wonder if you've heard this phrase before, but it's called like the adventure blues. That sort of, that's come down, that sort of feeling sad, this goal that you've been working so hard towards, and then suddenly it's over, it's finished, and then it's that sort of empty void looking ahead. And I suppose for you as well, it's almost like the lack of purpose of, what do you just sleep an extra 2 hours a day?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Initially, you started this due to the loss of your ex-husband, and it was almost like a way of processing it. But did you feel that the running allowed you to process that loss, or was running an escape from actually dealing with the grief? So now that you've stopped, have you sort of dealt with the grief previously, or is now the grief hitting you, if that makes sense?
No, I completely understand what you're saying. No, I think it helped me deal with it at the time, definitely. And I feel much stronger as a person. It's helped me grow through mental barriers that would be in the way. And the problem I had with my ex-husband was he gaslit me for over a decade. So he made me feel like I was worthless, you're not good enough, you're overweight, you're ugly, nobody loves you, all of this sort of stuff. When you're getting drummed that stuff every day, it really grinds you down. And I had been in a really depressive, anxious state. And what running's taught me is I can reconnect with people and communities that are out there that are going to support me. I can reconnect with nature. I can see the seasons changing. I can see the sunrise every day. I can see the sunset. I can go and jump in the water, and I can just feel alive again. And these are all things that I'd lost track of, and losing people, as I said earlier, has just made me realize I'm so grateful for my life, and what a waste of my sort of 20s and 30s when I felt so anxious and sorry for myself. All those thoughts were just in my head, they're not actual thoughts. And it's the streak has taught me to deal with emotion and learn with sort of conflicting thoughts of not being good enough, not being able to do something. And the kids have actually given me the biggest purpose to get up and get on and lead by example. As a single parent, obviously, I'm trying to be the mum, the dad, the breadwinner, just try and leave a legacy for my kids as well. I could have easily sunk into a state of depression again, but they've given me a reason as well to get up and keep going. So I think it's just taking a step back and like looking at what you've got and what you can do with your life. And these things cost nothing. This streak, anyone could go out and do a streak, but the lessons you learn are learned along the way. And you can read them in a book or be taught, but you have to put things into practice to really understand them. And I've definitely dealt with the grief, and it's definitely helped me deal with the grief of other people since my ex-husband as well, like my father-in-law, one of my clients. Yeah, it's been a really, really tricky sort of 3 years. And I think without the running, I wonder if I'd be the same person.
Yeah. And also, you must have had conflicting thoughts and emotions about his death, to be honest. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
I'm not a psychologist at all, but on one hand, like part of me is, and this sounds awful to say it, but oh no, I don't think I can even say it. It sounds so rude, but like for someone
Glad.
who's good
Yeah.
riddance, but for someone who's treated you that
Yeah.
despicably, then actually it's I can't even say
Yeah.
like it's a blessing that he's no longer here as part of
Yeah.
your life. But then obviously he's still the father of your children, and you were
Yeah.
in a relationship, and
Exactly that. And that's what I tried to explain earlier. It was a blessing, but also a curse. And the kids were very little at the time. So that was so difficult. And he left me with financial debt and lots of other things as well. So after he died, it took a number of years to kind of work through that. So the running really helped me work through that, like dealing with somebody who's been your abuser, but also left you a hell of a lot of debt and 3 kids without a father is a really tricky place to be. I can't tell you how hard that place was. And I did wonder if I was actually going to come out of it. I was like, can I even do this by myself? Can I actually clear up all this mess by myself? But I've done it. And I want to, reassure other people that they can do it. But as I said earlier as well, is you can't look at the bigger picture. If I focused this streak, if I started this streak today all over again and said, I've got 1,000 days to do it, I would never think I'm going to do it. But by looking at just one day at a time, one little step at a time and chipping away, it changes your mental thinking and you can rewire your brain at any point in your life. You can do it. You absolutely can. And you're always in control of your thoughts. And people just need to realize that.
thoughts are so powerful. Have you always identified yourself as a runner?
No, no, probably more so as a runner or an overweight person, a runner, a mother. Um, I struggle with my weight a lot during school. So at my heaviest, I was 17 stone. So I never really thought much of myself. I had low self-esteem. I wasn't the brightest, sharpest person in the room either. But I learned to find my way and get in my lane and all that jazz. And I did okay. I did 2 degrees, and obviously then had the kids. So I had to not pursue those dreams and make a way to look after the kids as a single parent. So it's just now that I'm actually starting to get into do the things that I really enjoy doing, like running and connecting with new skills that I used to enjoy, like photography. I've just started a new course because the kids now are 16 and 18. So two 16-year-olds and one 18-year-old. So I've sort of got my life back. So there's never a good time, is there, to sort of have kids and juggle everything in life. But I think any mother or father or family will have to take a decade out at some point, or even longer, 15 years, to sort of look after their kids and work a way around it.
One of the things that I love as well about your running streak is that, as well as obviously, doing it around Wrexham and in your hometown, you were still going on a holiday with the kids and managing to run at the same time. Talk us through some of the logistics of that and talk us through some of the different places that you've run in, because I know some of them have been quite challenging.
Yeah, so I have run all over the world as part of the streak, and the furthest place would probably be Miami, where I went to run with Micah. He was the guy that challenged me to my second streak in the first place, and that was difficult because it's a 10-hour flight, a 3-hour drive to London, sorry, followed by a 10-hour flight, followed by a 5-hour time difference. So that was logistically a nightmare. So I was literally jumping on one plane, getting off the other, getting an Uber to the hotel, and then literally running straight away. So that was the hardest. And obviously dealing with the heat difference as well. So we were -10 in the UK at this time, and it was +30 or 40 degrees in Miami. It was really, really hot. And then other places I've run are like across the deserts of Petra in Jordan, where I had to run super early because I was part of a trek. So not only was I running a half marathon every day, but we were trekking 15 kilometers a day for charity as well. So that was really difficult because I had to run in the pitch black. It was pitch black. And in the desert, there's no houses, there's no trees really. There's nothing to sort of work out where you are. It's just you, yourself, and your head torch. So there were a few longer runs, let's just say, when I was there. And I had to use things like old boots and, things that I'd find, like I think it was a Pepsi bottle or something, and just do shuttle runs just to get the run done because I got completely disorientated on a couple of occasions. And those runs were fun, but they were difficult as well because it's quite rocky in the desert in some parts, you wouldn't think, but it's very much like Snowdonia. So I struggled with the terrain in the dark. So I just had to do what I could. But been all over the place. I most recently went to Malaga. That was really good fun to do the Malaga Marathon. So I went all the way across the Costa del Sol coast. Where else? Italy. One of my favourite runs was in Lake Garda, around Lake Garda. Rome, Ostia run, where you run from Rome to the coast, was a fun one as well. There's been lots of fun runs in Croatia. I went to run with Marathon Woman, 366, Hilda. Don't know if you know of her. She just did a marathon a day for 366 days last year. So I went to run with her in Brussels, which was really good fun. So the running's just connected me with so many different places and people, and it's been hard on holiday with the kids in tow, and most of the time the kids do come with me, so I have to just run even earlier. So some days on holiday I'll be sort of 3 or 4 in the morning to avoid the heat, but also to make sure I'm back in time to be up for breakfast with them. And then obviously they want entertaining for the day, so those days I might be doing 60,000-70,000 steps, no joke. It's been quite full on.
It's been very full on. I'm so pleased that you're having some time to rest and recuperate and recover. But I know it's sort of you're working with and inspiring a lot of people with your running through your social media and the different challenges that you're running. Helen, where can people connect with you? How can they find out more information about your running and your future challenges?
Yeah, so they can find me on Facebook and Instagram. They're my 2 main platforms, and Strava. I've got a group on Facebook called Streak with Helen. It's pinned to the top of my Facebook page, and anyone can join it. It's completely free. And the idea is people come and streak with me. So in person or virtually, they can chat to me on there. And next month in February, I'm going to be doing a challenge called the 555 Challenge, which is to challenge people to run 5 kilometers a day. They can walk it if they can't run it as well, that's fine. But get outdoors for 5 kilometers if they can, and drink 5 bottles of water and eat 5 fruit and veg. So they can do it anywhere in the world at any time, but it's just to commit to doing those 5 habits and see how it can transform their life.
Fantastic. And Helen, I'd love to leave you with the final words of advice, final words of wisdom for other women out there who want to get into running. They want to start their own personal running journey. Apart from just do it, what advice would you like to share? And you can take that in any direction you'd like.
Oh, crikey. If they can dream it, they can do it. Honestly, just take down the barriers and don't put any limitations on anything out there. Just set a goal, get a big wall calendar, write on how you're going to do it, work out a plan, and just start working towards it. Baby steps every day.
Baby steps every day. Absolutely. Who knows where it might take you, which could end up being like you, Helen, being a Guinness World Record holder, ultramarathon runner. Absolutely amazing. And best of luck with, I was going to say, best of luck with submitting that 1,000 consecutive half marathons for Guinness, because I've heard from other Guinness World Record holders how stringent they are and the amount of data and information that you need to send through. So thank you so much for coming on Tough Girl Podcast and sharing your story. And I'm excited to see what's going to be next for you.
Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for having me.
Hey, tribe. How are you doing? Hope you're keeping super well during these glorious sunny months, especially in the UK. Big shout out to all of the runners out there. And an even bigger shout out if you're running right now at this moment, listening to the Tough Girl podcast. Take a selfie of yourself and tag me in it at Tough Girl Challenges. No, honestly, big shout out to anybody who's running, no matter the distance that you are learning and no matter your experience level. If you are training from going from the couch to a 5K, if you're training for a 5K, 10K, half marathon, and ultra marathon, it does not matter as long as you are running for you. Walk, jog, walk, jog, walk, jog. If you are jeffing, that is absolutely a valid training technique. So big shout out for everyone who is outdoors doing their thing, running. Very, very proud of you. Little shout out for me. So I actually work with Innovate. You've probably heard of them. They are an amazing company who sell incredible running and training gear. Now I do actually have a discount code for them. So if you are looking for new trainers, new running jackets, new vests, etc., new socks, whatever it may be, go and check out Innovate. The website is INOV8, the number 8.com. They have a specific women's running page, and on there you can get running footwear, which is trail, fell, road, ultra. There's ones with 0 drop. They have all the running, so jacket, tops, short socks, tights, trousers. If you're also into hiking, they do hiking stuff as well. So all the boots, all the shoes, and all the gear that you will need for hiking. You can use Tough Girl 15, Tough Girl 15 to get a 15% 15% discount, which is a big old discount. So please do go check it out. I've got reviews on the Tough Girl website with details of all the different trainers and gear that I have used and what I like about it, the pros and the cons. So, and if you've got a specific question you want to ask me, just send me a DM at Tough Girl Challenges and I will happily help you out. So that discount code again is ToughGirl15 to get 15% off. Also shout out to Protein Rebel as well. That's who I get my protein powder from. You can use ToughGirl15 to get a 15% discount off their protein products, which is pea protein, vegan, gluten-free, made in the UK. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Very, very gentle on your stomach. What else do I need to say? Oh, runners. So on the Tough Girl podcast, we have spoken to so many runners, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of runners. So if it's a particular race that you're after, such as, well, probably more focused, there's a lot on like Marathon des Sables, for example, that we have spoken to quite a few women who've done like 100 milers and also other specific races. So please do go check it out. There's a resources page on the Tough Girl website. And on that resources page, there's one dedicated to ultra runners. We've also had streakers before, not streakers naked, but streakers as in running streakers. So please do go check out their individual stories. And one of the things that I love so much about women's running is that there are so many different voices. So, and just so many backgrounds and so many, women who've been sporty all their life and that's continued. Women who haven't been sporty, women who've got children, women who are divorced, women who've got young children, women who've had injury, women who've lost their mojo. There's a whole variety of different women talking about their running experiences. But just one thing to remember, this is not about comparison. Do not compare yourself to other runners. You run for you. You do it for you. So compare yourself to you. That's the only person you compare yourself to. But if you're looking for information on nutrition, fueling, the psychology behind it, then please do just go and take a look at the resources page, especially under ultra runners. You can look through people like Renee McGregor. She's a world-renowned expert in athlete health and performance, ultra runner, and she talks a lot about the fueling, the food and the nutrition. Jen Benson, she's a running coach, she's an author, she's also a PhD researcher, and she wrote an incredible book called The Path We Run and talks more about her ultramarathon journey. We've spoken to Innovate ambassadors such as Sarah Perry, who set a record on the Southwest Coast, about 630 miles with a fastest self-supported completion. And then there's Dr. Kaz Williams, who's a performance psychologist. She's a certified running coach and ultra runner. We've spoken to Sophie Power, who's a Great Britain 24-hour ultra racer, mum of 3, and founder of She Races, which is a campaign to make races better for women. So please do go and check it out. A big shout out to you for listening to the Tough Girl podcast. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to all of the patrons. Thank you so much for your financial support. It makes a world of difference. If you'd like to support the mission to increase the amount of female role models in the media, then please do visit Patreon, patreon.com/Tough Girl Podcast. The episodes of the Tough Girl podcast go live every Tuesday at 7 a.m. UK time with bonus episodes going live at 7 a.m. on a Thursday. I'm trying to get about 6 episodes out every month. I'd love for you to tell one friend about the Tough Girl podcast. I'd love for you to write about it in your newsletter. I'd love for you to what else I'd love to do? Share it on social media, tag me in it, take a selfie. That really does make a world of difference and just shows other women, look, all these incredible stories out there of women doing these amazing races and challenges and hopefully inspiring other women to take the plunge, to sign up for that race, to put their trainers on, to get out the door and to start. All that's left for me to say is, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, give it your all, give it 110%, get after it, go for it, believe in yourself because I believe in you. Take care, lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.